Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you once again, Dan, and of course, Trump. My name is Osmakuni, and this time I'm joined with Reynad in Domdus. Reynad's first time we're seeing you today. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Nice to be awake this early, but it's nice to be at the LAN. It's a pretty exciting event. Love the atmosphere, and yeah, looking forward to the games.
Yeah, so you're going to be playing in this tournament as well. You qualified in one of the weeks.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately. Are you looking forward to it? Do you think you're well prepped? Do you think you'll be able to take it home?
I'm really happy with my lineup. I think that there is one deck that I became aware of about a day right after we submitted deck lists that I wish I was playing instead of one of my lists. But aside from that, my lineup is, I think, the best I could have done with the knowledge I had at the time. So I'm really happy with it.
Okay. Domdus, what about you? You're playing later on as well.
Right. I'm playing later today.
Yeah. Are you excited for that?
I'm very excited. Yeah. It's my first time in a big LAN event, so I expect it to be a good time. I'm just soaking everything in, having a great time. Casting's been a blast.
Is that why you volunteered to cast? So
it
you
is.
Can just scope out the decks for the rest of the tournament?
Yeah, definitely. And I get, right in there, get all the detailed explanation right in front of me by you guys. It's good.
Yeah, he's actually got a notepad in front of him. He's writing down every single card of every single player. So
exactly.
The next match is going to be Trump versus Koyuki. This is actually going to be the last match of Group A, the elimination match. So the loser goes home, or, well, not going to go home. We're not going to force them to go home. But they are going to be out of the tournament. And, of course, the winner moves on to join Demigod from Group A to go to that playoff match. I want to get your guys' predictions real quick. After seeing a little bit of these guys play today, after knowing the history of these two players, Reynad, what are your predictions for this next one?
Well, I haven't seen Koyuki play much, but the few times that he has been in a tournament, he does prepare for it a lot and usually does pretty well. Trump also has a really remarkably high win rate in tournaments, even though he's more of an arena player. And I know that he's played a lot of ladder leading up to this, so honestly, I could see it going either way. I don't think either player has a huge edge, but I would give it to Trump, I guess, because I've just seen him play more, and it seems like he knows what he's doing. He's comfortable with his decks.
All right, fair enough. Domdus, what about you?
I'm kind of in the same boat in that I haven't seen Koyuki play too much either. Trump obviously streams a lot, and I know he did really well last season with hand locking up into high ladder. So I would also, I think, gear myself towards Trump, but I definitely think Koyuki has his oil rogue should do really well against the paladin of Trump. So he definitely has good matchups. So yeah, I can go either way, definitely.
Okay. Well, let us know what you guys think. What are your predictions for the next match and for the tournament as a whole? Make sure you're joining in on the conversation. Follow us at ESL Hearthstone. Use the hashtag HLS. And let us know what you guys think of the tournament in general. And join in the conversation about the players as well. Also, we'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsors. Plantronics and GIGABYTE have joined us for Season 2 of the Legendary Series. And they're the people who make all this possible, who allow us to fly these 16 great players out and have them duke it out for a $25,000 grand prize. So big shout out to those guys. And we're pretty close to being able to jump into the match between Koyuki and Trump. So I actually want to get your guys' opinion on the tournament as a whole. Is there any particular players who you're looking out for to take the whole thing? We've only seen a couple players from Group A. What about you, Reynad?
That Reynad guy's pretty good.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I heard.
Too. No, I don't know. I think any player could take it, honestly. Everyone qualified to get their spot here. Everyone knows what they're doing, and everyone's playing Hunter and Warrior. So I don't know. I think it could be anyone's game.
Yeah.
Personally, for me, I just really want to play Reynad. Just because we played in our Legendary Series week, and I lost twice to you.
You got pretty unlucky.
0-3 both times.
0-3 first time.
Yeah,
second time 2-3. But almost 0-3. And so I would love for us to play again. I think it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. There's a potential for that to happen in the playoff stage, I believe. So I'll be looking forward to that one as well. So we talked a little bit about, Reynad mentioned Grim Patron Warrior and the Hunter. What are you guys' thoughts on the strongest decks right now in the meta?
Those are the strongest decks for sure, mid-range Hunter and Patron Warrior. And the reason is, in a Conquest format, you only need to get one win with a deck. And there's really no way to build 3 decks that, guaranteed beat either mid-range Hunter or Control Warrior. You just can't do it. So I feel like it's just kind of up in the air. You're definitely going to get wins with those 2 decks. Kind of the third deck, I think, is where a lot of the differences in lineups are going to be and where it's decided who has the edge. If you pick a deck that can actually beat either Patron or Hunter, and then you get that matchup to get the win with your third deck, then that puts you at a huge advantage because then you have 2 fairly broken decks left to get a win with.
Yeah, that's true. Thomas?
I'm a little bit surprised in this tournament, speaking of Grim Patron, that I think we've only seen one person, which is Koyuki, use Grim Patron so far, right?
Yeah, so it's been a lot of Control Warrior instead.
Yeah, that was very surprising to me just because, like Renan said, I think, Grim Patron is clearly the top deck, and along with Hunter, and they're overpowered at this point, and you can almost always find at least one win with them in a Conquest format, so yeah.
And it's something I noticed that it's kind of happened since the beginning of Hearthstone's history in tournament play, is that when there's a deck that's clearly like tier 1, usually it's been Hunter and some variant, sometimes Miracle Rogue, you see players like deliberately not bring it, thinking that their lineup is like geared to tech against this, but those lineups never win tournaments from what I've seen. So my strategy personally was just like play the broken decks this time, because I felt like that's what does well, but I'm not surprised to see things like Control Warrior instead of Patron, because it does have a favorable matchup there. So yeah, I don't think it's wrong to bring Control Warrior. I just think it's a little weaker than Patron.
Yeah, well, it's been successful for these guys in the group stage, but we'll see as the tournament progresses how that's going to play out. But there's going to be a few more moments while the players get set up for their next match. But we actually do have Crib standing by in the Players' Lounge with an interview.
Thanks, TJ. I'm here with Cabby. Now, you haven't had such a good result so far today, but I think most people have agreed that you played very well and were pretty impressed with a lot of what you put forward today. Now, you did mention as you're coming off the stage that last game, that last epic game against Trump, you with the Warrior, Trump with the Warlock, there was something that the audience didn't really see throughout that game. Now, what was that?
Taskmaster to begin with, and also I was running Revenge, so I had 2 outs all along. I was hoping for like that top deck for like 10 turns in a row, and I still had removal in my deck. I think I had Execute or Shield Slam, I don't remember, but I had like a lot of answers, and I got none.
Revenge is such a weird card. I mean, I've played Constructed in, let's say, the weird ranks, but I don't even remember seeing that card ever. And we're here at a tournament where you have to pull a win with every single deck. What's the mindset? Because I mean, you're at a tournament now. Maybe you can explain it to us. How does Revenge fit into the game right now?
The 3 damage AoE, it's pretty decent. Like the decks that push you below HP, like Paladin, like strategy for Paladin many times is just like rush you down, and many times they do it with the 3/3s that you just Revenge or the Patrons. Like it's a good counter to those styles of plays where their strategy is just to rush you down with small minions, and it's not that bad versus Hunter. It's like 1 more mana where when you usually get you can afford to do that in some scenarios. Obviously, sometimes it's not as good, but it was a small investment that we tried the beta round, and it was doing okay.
Well, that's pretty cool. I'm kind of sad you didn't do so well with it, because I always like to see these tournaments kind of changing the meta on live a little bit. And I think if that did pull through, if that was one of the big cards, people would have actually been more eager to try it, which is something I really advocate for. People trying new cards and trying the most out of them. So that's a little bit sad. But what do you think about Trump advancing? What do you think about his match against Koyuki? Are you rooting for Trump now that maybe he got a win against you? Maybe it's okay if he wins a tournament. It's not a big deal anymore, or something like that?
It's hard to say which one is going to win. It's like, I don't know who is going to win, and I got along with both players, so I don't have any favorites. So I hope they get good luck and just are able to play properly. And yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Cabby. Sad to see you go, but maybe you'll stick around. Maybe we'll hear from you here and there. But for now, we will get into the Trump-Koyuki match in just a second. But first, maybe a few words from TJ and the gang at the casting desk.
Thank you very much, Crip. TJ and the gang, that would be a good name for a band if we were to make one. Me being the star, of course. But we are about to jump into the Koyuki versus Trump matchup. A quick reminder, the loser of this match is eliminated from the tournament. So there's a lot on the line for these players. Both these guys have played some pretty tough matchups today. Trump just coming off a victory. Koyuki actually coming off a loss where he missed lethal one time. He made a couple of big misplays. Overall played well, but I don't know how that's going to affect him. He seemed pretty quiet over in the player lounge as well. How does that type of thing play into your mindset when you're coming off a tough loss?
It really depends player to player. I mean, some players really tilt hard and it really affects their play moving forward. Some players can just kind of brush it off and, you know, stay. It won't really affect their play moving forward. So, not having seen Koyuki play too much in tournaments, I mean, we'll see how big of an impact that has.
Domdus, are you sort of afraid that you might succumb to that? Because this is your first big LAN tournament as well. You get an advantage because you get to be on the desk a little bit to sort of get the jitters out a little bit.
You know, have a little fun up here before I have to play, definitely. Yeah. But I'm not too afraid of it. I think I'm a pretty calm person in general. I don't get too nervous at things, so I think I should be okay. Hopefully, I just don't do any big misplays. But if I do, you know, I'll be on tilt maybe for like a second. But yeah, I should be able to brush it off, hopefully.
If you make a big misplay, I'm going to be the one that
I'm
posts it on Reddit.
I'm going to get grilled, I'm sure, by everybody here. But, you know, when I go back to the hotel room, I was going to be like, what was that?
Yeah, I'm going to take my selfie stick, run right over the player pod, and take a picture of you as you're coming out of the booth. How did you feel about that misplay there, Dom? No, I'm just kidding. I would never do something like that. Okay, first matchup is going to be Koyuki with the Rogue, and Trump, of course, with that hand lock.
Yeah, this is a matchup that used to be very heavily in Handlock's favor back when the common Rogue deck was Miracle. But since then, I would actually give the edge to Oil Rogue. Like with you know, with the new Rogue lists that are coming out, they're all playing Double Blade Flurry, Oil, and basically the Rogue deck puts on pressure before Handlock gets its large threat down on turn 4. But then through a combination of saps and removal, you kind of whittle down their health. And at any turn that they threaten them, you know, a bunch of Molten Giants and taunts, that's when you Blade Flurry and win. So I'd give a slight favorite to Rogue here in this matchup personally.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I think if you don't have to use your sap super early and you can save them for when they have to taunt up, and then you just Oil Rogue's burst potential is huge. So yeah, definitely. I think I would give a slight edge to Oil.
Yeah. So Trump, people have said he's been pretty predictable with his deck choices so far. He brought Handlock, he brought Hunter, he brought Paladin. Those are the 3 decks that he plays on ladder. Those are the 3 decks that everybody watches and play on stream. So he knows the ins and outs of all these 3.
I think we touched on it a little bit before that he just brought what he's most comfortable with.
Yeah.
Which I think there's a lot of merit to that, definitely. And we can see it in his play. He's made really great plays. You know, I don't think he's made any big misplays up till now. So
up until now.
Yes, we gotta leave open for the future.
Okay. Domdus predicting huge misplays from Trump in this series.
I like getting the Edwin down here. You really want to have a threat before they play their turn 4 minion.
Very true.
And Edwin's just about as good as you can do turn 2.
He's got a pretty decent hand because he's got Paladin Shredder, which is a great card because it allows you to, like you said, get out pressure before the big drops start coming out.
Right.
And he's got sap and a little bit of damage as well to contribute to removal for maybe like the second threat, like a Sludge Belcher after the first threat is dealt with.
Absolutely, you're going to see him life tap here. So here, you know, Trump doesn't have a turn 4 play. He's debating, you know, should I just play this Zombie Chow? I think I like holding it here because, you know, there's a chance he still draw Mountain Giant, and if he plays the Zombie Chow, he won't be able to play that Mountain Giant.
Right.
And mostly it's just not going to do anything here. Putting 2 damage on Edwin isn't going to help you deal with it at all. Hand. Rogue's got some options. Do you play the S side? Do you just weapon up? If you weapon up, you do have the option to use that SI damage on a minion that's played. So
true.
If you just play the SI agent here, are you really worried about not really playing around Hellfire that much? But Hellfire doesn't really do much to your board. You'd have to have like Hellfire and then Mortal Coil the following turn. So playing it just like this is sort of applying a little bit more pressure.
Twilight Drake is a huge draw. Without that, Trump would have been really far behind.
Yep, Trump must have been really happy about that draw.
If you don't draw into the Twilight Drake there, you pretty much play defensively for almost the entire game.
Definitely.
Because you aren't really doing much on that turn except maybe like playing a tempo BGH just to try and stall some of the damage. And in that case, it's just like when you get to the point as a handlock player where you have to play defensively every turn, you're suboptimally using the cards that you might need later on, like your taunt cards or even like anti-kill bots, and it's just downhill.
Yeah, I don't mind using a sap here. I mean, you do want to hold on to them, like Damas mentioned earlier, but it's still like just your best play here. If you play just the Shredder, you have to either trade your creatures in and use Backstab, or you have to be vulnerable to Shadow Flame. So this is pretty much the best option.
Definitely.
That's a huge draw. That's going to allow him to clear the board with Coil. But Handlock doesn't have any Molten Giants yet, and that's definitely great for the Rogue because, you know, Koyuki doesn't have a big Blade Flurry set up yet. He doesn't have a Blade Flurry in hand, he doesn't have oil or preparation, any of those things that he needs to deal with Molten Giant when they come down.
It's a bit early for him to piece together 12 damage, but it comes pretty quickly when you're talking about Rogue here. Oh, second sap.
That's a good draw.
Azdrake's such a fantastic card on an empty board against Warlock. I mean, it doesn't die to Dark Bomb, doesn't die to Hellfire. You don't really want to Siphon Soul a 5-mana minion that already drew a card.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't die to Implosion.
Yeah.
If it's like a Demon Handlock or something.
Malagos lock.
Yeah. It's actually becoming really popular recently. A lot of players use that to climb to Legend
Yeah, definitely.
at the beginning of this season.
I think it's just a fun deck to play too.
Is it?
Malagos is just.
Is it actually
very
strong though? What are its strengths based off of like regular old handlock?
It's less predictable. That's pretty much it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's pretty
It can
much
just
it.
burst you out of nowhere.
Yeah. We've seen many times in Legendary Series that the Malagos Rogue backfires because the first Soulfire discards the second Soulfire
Yep.
or something like
I
that.
think there was a long streak of it, right, where it happened like to the same person 3 times
To
in a row.
Lead Paint, who's actually sitting over there in the players'
Yep,
lounge
there
with
he
a little
is.
bit of a smirk on his face. He actually wants to cry right now because he's like,
And yeah, he's
"Don't
still here,
bring up
so it's
those
all good."
memories. Yeah, he still won that week that he brought Malagos
Yeah.
Warlock. So
I was thinking about the prep sprint. I like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's it might be better to just sap and shredder.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna find time. Well, yeah,
And then just prep sprint next turn.
and you're almost always gonna find an answer to, like a more efficient answer to Sludge Belcher as well, like Eviscerate.
Right. Yep.
Well, he's expecting to backstab the Zombie Shout here and sap the Sludge Belcher.
Save Eviscerate for the burn.
Base.
No Blade Flurry yet, though.
Yep. Double deadly poison though, so that could be
I was thinking of using that instead of sap. Save the sap for Molten Giant. Okay.
right. Yep. I think I like that. Saving the tap.
It's a fine play. I don't like not backstabbing here.
Yeah, I think definitely backstab.
I would have backstabbed and gone face for 4. But this is fine too. Definitely not incorrect, I would say. A little risky against Dark Bomb though.
Yeah, because you're not really at a point where you want to like save face damage because you're already
Right.
you've
the
already
Moltens will
enabled
come in.
Molten Giants. If
Yeah.
he has double Molten Giant, he can play double Molten Giant, and taunt them up
Yep.
in the same turn. So it really doesn't matter holding back anything. But
Right here with no taunters though, it's a little bit scary.
And Trump has really been dealing with a rough draw. I mean, that turn 4 Twilight Drake helped, but no taunts is the Molten kind of a turn after he wanted it, I think.
Yep.
you can Molten Healbot.
Yeah, I think life tapping
that's-
isn't bad. That's what I would do.
If he life tapped, played Molten, and then used Healbot,
Mhm.
he'd be at 18 health at the end of the turn. I think that's with the Azure Drake on the board and a 5 damage dagger. I don't know, 9 damage at least. Double Eviscerate, actually, he'd need like Blade Flurry, double Eviscerate.
Like, I suppose even if he draws Sun Fury Protector or Dark Bomb, he wouldn't even play them this turn. So I guess
Right.
life tapping is just bad. It's better to just Molten and heal Bot.
Dr. Boom's not an option.
Yellow
It's turn
Boom.
7, man.
It is turn 7.
That is ambitious. You could do that.
He would need 3 damage.
That's what I'd always teach my friends when they're first loading. When you have Dr. Boom turn 7, you play it.
Yeah. Great advice. Great advice. Teaching the new
Could be
player
great
base
here.
how to really play competitive Hearthstone.
He does weave in the hero power here. It's going to be good
Alright.
for next turn, but
Let's see, is that not by lethal, right?
No.
He's just going for it,
Did he miscount?
leaving him at 1. I think from him pausing, I think he must have miscounted.
oh well, this 3-mana Flame Strike draw card will be good enough.
Yeah. He like called a mulligan halfway through his play. He's like, yeah, maybe I'll go with something else. He played it off well. He's like, oh, I
Yeah.
have lethal. Oh.
I like just not attacking here.
Made it completely look like this. That was, yeah, I think I would not attack too.
You have 2 Blade Flurries in your deck.
Yep.
Molten's still going to die next turn. You don't care about it attacking anything. Going face doesn't matter. You're going to drop Blade Flurry for that damage eventually. Alright, Koyuki disagrees, gets in there for 3. It's not Jirax's turn yet.
Seems like he's playing really quickly. He's not thinking about his plays too much. He's just sort of throwing things down.
Right. I think that's what happened to him a little bit in the last series during that Grim Patron turn where he didn't quite count out the damage. So
Yeah. He's like, oh, I think I have lethal.
Right.
Let me just go for it. And he
Just
threw
go
his
for it.
damage and
Yep.
very recklessly and ended up missing. So
Luckily for Koyuki, though, Trump's draw has just been kind of abysmal this game.
it's
so
been abysmal. Oh.
yeah,
Siphon a 4-3 Drake. It's already gotten a ton of value. And Koyuki's going to look for lethal this turn. Sprint is probably not going to find it, so I expect to see an Azure Drake.
the early sap ended up being a really huge deal because Trump has not been able to replay the Twilight Drake that he played. Those Twilight
Right.
Drakes have been sort of dead in his hand the whole game except for the first one he played. So
Especially because Trump never hasn't drawn a taunter. So yeah.
he said to
Yes,
tap
sir.
every turn and then play defensively.
It's a 2-mana Assassinate. It's a pretty good card.
Here we go.
Not
He wants to.
Very close.
This guy's tough.
All right, there we go. So we're definitely going to see Draxus come down, and Trump is actually
He's in a good spot.
He's in a good spot somehow. This
Somehow.
is amazing. He was so far behind this game, and he actually has like a very reasonable chance of winning. He just needs to find a Defender of Argus or a Sun Fury to protect himself from some oil burst.
I think the chance of that is pretty high, seeing how he's gone through so many of his cards.
Yeah.
Hasn't seen either.
yeah.
He's got that Shadow Flame anyway to shoot his Ancient Watcher or Infernal. So
There is still a lot of direct damage left in Koyuki's deck. I mean, we haven't seen either Blade Flurry. He still is holding on to an Eviscerate. He's got a sap to maybe get through like one big target.
We haven't seen either oils either, right?
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually a huge draw, South Sea Deckhand. That is a card that Trump won't be able to interact with to prevent oil.
Right.
So it's going to allow Koyuki's oils to actually threaten lethal, even on a board where Trump doesn't expect it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still hasn't been able to, well, he utilized the sprint earlier, but the second sprint is actually going to be pretty good because it's going to allow him to get deeper in his deck before Trump has a chance to build up a huge board and maybe start threatening him with damage.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see a Shadow Flame, the Ancient Watcher here.
Yep. I think it has to come out.
What's it going to be?
Ooh.
Blood Turn Raptor.
I mean, that Mountain Giant is not what Trump wanted to see. He really needed a taunt.
Yeah.
Really badly, yeah.
It's been so long. How many cards has he been through?
It's
At least half
crazy.
his deck.
Very high chance he's dead this turn.
Not quite.
He can
Seven.
sprint, but I think he needs oil plus prep in order to have lethal.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not that unlikely. I'd have to see how many cards are left in hand.
I don't think we've seen either prep either, right?
No,
We've
we see
seen
one
one
with
Oh,
a
we saw one
sprint.
prep. True.
Harrison Jones.
There's a prep, but
It's not quite enough.
not quite enough.
Yeah, South Sea Oil with the weapon already equipped is exactly 9 damage.
I think I would South Sea right now because at this point you have the flurry, so your oil's going to deal that damage. And if you don't South Sea now, you might never get the charge like the minion damage off.
It's a really good point, yeah.
True.
But I suppose if you draw that oil, you have lethal anyway, with or without that 2 damage. So might as
He's
well
got
hold
the
it.
eviscerate.
Oh,
so
no.
Still no taunters. Wow.
And now he doesn't even have the card draw mechanic to be able to start getting a couple cards a turn, so
Yep.
he's just top decking just like the rest of us.
Well, Koyuki is sitting on lethal, so I think that's just game.
It should just be game, yeah.
Unless Koyuki misses it. But he seemed really eager to go for the face before.
I mean,
The people's champion of Twitch chat. Smork every turn.
Seems like every turn he positions his cursor at the face at least a little bit.
right. Just like, need to go to the face.
It's like the backwards elimination. Like he starts at the face and then goes to the creatures.
Right.
Where most people go to the creatures and they're like, oh, maybe I'll go
nah,
face.
Yeah. Oh.
He's trying to figure out the best line of play to keep him alive, but it's just there's no good play. The best players like to put as much power on the board as possible to
Hope
hope
they
that
can
he
kill
doesn't
him
have
next turn,
damage.
but-
Yeah, Mountain
Yeah.
Giant's the most likely card to survive a Blade Flurry. The right play here from Trump was to play his turn within 5 seconds so that Koyuki doesn't have as much time to think about having lethal. But that oil draw.
That oil
yeah.
is just...
Oh, he preps it
Don't
out
need to
too.
think.
Here we go.
All right, well, it looks like Koyuki, after a pretty interesting game, goes ahead and takes the first game in the series. He's 2 wins away from securing a spot in the playoff stage on Sunday. And Trump is on the ropes. Last match he had against Kabi, he was up 2-0, and now down 0-1 in the series.
Yeah, that's an important win.
Definitely.
Right.
He definitely had a lot of bad luck there with those draws, even entirely the whole game.
Yeah, definitely. Trump's draws that game were pretty rough, but you know, Handlock's a pretty strong deck, can definitely pull out a win still.
Definitely.
Do we know what are Koyuki's other classes?
He has Patron Warrior and Hunter.
Okay, so that Patron Warrior is a big deal because Control Warrior, it's actually favored against Handlock, whereas Patron Warrior is disadvantaged. So assuming Trump's playing double Hellfire, Shadow Flame, all those board clears, then
Definitely.
Trump can definitely still pull a win out.
Yeah, it seems Koyuki actually got the memo about the strong decks. So he brought Patron Warrior, he brought Hunter, and then the third deck that Raynet was talking about that can sort of differ. And his choice was Rogue.
Which is pretty strong on its own as well, obviously, as we saw.
It's like you look at a tier list, the meta tier list, and he's like, oh, okay, Patron Warrior, Hunter, and Rogue.
Yep.
Let's go for it. I'll take those 3 decks.
Definitely expected to see a lot of that, but surprisingly we haven't.
No,
But
2 Paladins in Group A.
2 Paladins. A
You're
heavy
happy about
heal.
that, Domdus?
I like me some Paladin, definitely. Koyuki was the person I thought would bring Paladin, but ended up not.
It's a bit of an interesting mind game here, though, because Trump has Handlock and 2 decks that have completely polarized matchups. Like, he needs that to get matched up against Patron, whereas, like, if he gets paired up against mid-range Hunter, there's almost no way he wins.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of an interesting mind game from both players. Like, he's wondering, you know, do I bring the Patron out now? Do I bring out the Hunter? What is Trump going to go with? Most players stick with the deck they just lost with, so stage 1 of thinking, I guess, is Trump will stick with Handlock, in which case Koyuki wants to pick Hunter. Stage 2 is he tries to next level that, pick Patron, and we'll see.
And then it goes deep down the rabbit hole of mind games.
Yes.
Yep.
Where nobody knows what the other player is going to do. Trump was actually pretty vocal about he knows his decks in and out, but he has trouble with the Conquest format and like the strategy behind deck picking.
Somebody needs to get that man a 6-sided die.
Just roll the dice, exactly. But we'll have to see if that's going to play into his decision. In his first matchup of the day, he kept the same deck all the way through, but this one he actually switched it up a little bit.
Going with the Paladin.
Definitely what he wanted here. Paladin into Hunter or Handlock into Warrior.
Didn't see the last card, but it looks like that hand's actually decent. He'd want to see like Zombie Chow if he's running it.
Right. But the Shielded Mini-Bot is definitely a nice consolation prize.
Oh, yeah.
See that good old Leper Gnome greetings.
And now he even has the muster to follow that up.
It feels like 98% of my Hunter games on ladder are opened with Leper Gnome.
The Leopard.
Greetings.
In
or
that
Leper
order.
Gnome threat. Yeah,
They can't wait to get it out and get you for 2.
It's like they throw away their whole hand. I'm like, okay, I got a chance. Leper Gnome, greetings.
Yep.
Ah, God. He does have the Shield Mini-Bot now, which he doesn't have a really good curve. He can Hero Power next turn, but this means that the Shield Mini-Bot's going to trade.
Yeah, coin Hero Power there was a viable play. A little risky against Glaive Zuka. It's actually the only card in the game that Minibot plays around, but definitely worth it.
Yep.
He misses turn 2, though. No Mad Scientist, no Haunted Creeper, just the Hero Power in turn 2. That's not what you want to see, especially against Paladin, who has so many early tools to sort of stop the momentum
Definitely.
of Hunter.
Trump must have been really happy to see that.
Yeah.
Trump didn't have a turn 2 play of his own either, though, but that Paladin Hero Power definitely a little bit stronger early game than Hunter's.
Yep.
A lot of them are. It's like anything that interacts with the board, like, just trumps the Hunter Hero Power. No pun intended.
Definitely. All right, Muster. Who's the beatdown now? Unleash the dudes.
Unleash the dudes.
The value. This is actually a really great curve for Trump as well.
Yeah.
He's got right now like True Silver Champion. He has something to hit it with if he chooses. Then he's got Sludge Belcher. He's got Anti-Heal Bot. Has some heal to get him through that point.
Koyuki didn't draw Mad Scientist or Haunted Creeper, and he just drew a Stranglethorn Tiger. Someone should let him know that BlackRock and Nexramus are in fact out. Stranglethorn Tiger brings you back to days of DreamHack when we played that guy. Oh, there
Did
we
it go well for you?
Yeah, pretty well.
Okay.
I got third. I played double Snapjaw, double Stranglethorn.
Ooh.
Maybe Koyuki was. I need to do prep on the players that are in this tournament. Let me look up Raynad. Oh, you ran Stranglethorn Tigers. That's a great idea.
Brilliant. Genius.
Sludge Belcher. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Definitely the play.
There's an argument for True Silver because you have 2,
right.
but dealing with the Paladin Shredder that it's at 1 attack is not really that big of a deal. Maybe pushing for damage and being the one who's applying pressure is good, but then you open up a Stranglethorn Tiger to just smack you in the face because you're not playing Sludge Belcher. So I don't know if you want to be taking that 5 game.
It's definitely a bit of a clunky draw from Koyuki. I mean, he's already at 14 against a Control Paladin. The correct play this turn was drawing Unleash the Hounds.
Yeah. Definitely a misplay then.
Definitely
yeah,
a
huge
misplay.
misplays.
But he's still in it. I guess you slam high main and hope for the best.
Yep.
That line of play is actually usually really great for hunters because usually you get to that point, especially with the hybrid hunter that's running around. This seems like a standard. Well, I don't know. He had Leper Gnome, so it's it's sort of hybridy. Usually just plopping down a Savannah Hyman on turn 6. It's like, okay, well, I pretty much won the game.
Plays itself, right?
Yeah, but like Randad said, he's at 14 health,
Yeah.
so
Didn't notice the life drop so fast.
All right, well, no great way to deal with this high main right now.
bet he wishes he still had that Peacekeeper.
Yep, Paladin is one of the decks that can deal with high main the best. Peacekeeper is pretty much the best thing you can have against it. Maybe Hex is better, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's unfortunate to not have the second one here.
So if he just goes like all face right now, plops on the True Silver Champion, hero powers up, he can do 8 damage, put him at 6.
I think that's the play. He's just thinking about this Stranglethorn. I mean, that's a 5/2. Is it worth trading 2 minions in just to take that damage off the board? I think it might be.
Yeah. If you go all face, you set up for lethal next turn with just a swing and a consecration. But that gets punished very heavily by like Houndmaster, Nisha, Lotheb.
Hitting the face, I think he's going for it.
Yeah. I really do think at this point you just got to go.
Yeah. This is better than playing Tiger for sure. It's just the best chance of winning at this point. You can't win a long game.
You're at 26 health, so you're not worried about him killing you the next turn. You have no heal bot, so you could maybe even buy yourself another turn after that. So
Glaive Zuka, that is not a taunt. We need some.
That is rough.
We need to skillfully roll a Misha right here.
Here we go. All right. The backup plan is to get a taunt from the Shredder.
All right, we need a Noitron.
Here we go.
Anoyatron.
Skill shot right here.
Nat Pagel.
Howdy.
Koyuki, the last time I saw Koyuki in a competitive tournament, Nat Pagel was actually running every deck.
Yeah. I
That,
remember that meta.
Yeah.
Lost a whole lot.
was that back when Tinkmaster was a thing?
Oh, yeah. It
Yeah,
was,
times.
Tingmaster and Nat Pagel were the 2 auto-includes. 'Cause
Yeah.
Nat Pagel drew a card at the end of your turn. So you
Yep.
could play it on a turn and then have a 50% chance to draw a card at the end of that turn. And Tinkmaster Overspark was targeted.
Yep. Not that random.
So if you're Raynad,
My-
you can
my-
turn something into a Devil Sword every single
Right.
time.
Every time.
I think I had
Always
like
lucky.
a 90% squirrel rate on my stuff.
And a 90% Devil Sword on their
their
stuff. Alrighty, well, it's going to go ahead and concede out. And Trump is going to take a victory in this series. He's going to tie it up 1-1, finding a victory with that Paladin. And that's sort of what we expected going into that one. It didn't play out as I expected it to, but the end result was sort of what
Paladin
I
being
expected.
the face goer.
Yeah.
Matchup definitely can go either way. I mean, even though Paladin definitely has a lot of cards that interact favorably against Hunter, you know, Paladin still has a life total and Hunter still has kill command. So I've seen crazier swings happen. But
Yeah.
well played by Trump. Ties it up.
Yeah, so decks remaining for these guys. Trump still has the handlock remaining. He still has Hunter as well for himself. And then, of course, Koyuki has the Hunter and Patron Warrior.
Yeah, as far as picking their next decks, what's going on in both of their minds really is Trump trying to get his handlock paired against Koyuki's Patron, and then
Yeah.
Koyuki trying to avoid that. So
Definitely.
still a lot of mind games there. Koyuki might stick with the Hunter, and Trump might pick handlock into it, which would, I guess, not be the worst case. Maybe that's the safest pick. It's really tough to say.
Yeah. Again, a lot of times you get into it, you say, well, there's mind games going on, but in the end, unless you really know a player's tendencies, like you have a paper that says, oh, 80% of the time, this is what he does, like a
Right.
consistent statistic, then it's always just a point. But it looks like we're going to see Hunter versus Hunter. Get your Smork emos ready. Because we're in for a lot.
Yep.
Both these players are doing wrist stretches right now, making sure they have that range of motion to point the cursor at the face.
All the way up to the face. Yep.
Yeah. Trump's psyching himself out. Koyuki as well. That player pod is actually pretty intimidating. They have some like Hearthstone props in there, and it looks really cool. But it's also like they pump white noise in it.
Yeah,
Really?
that
You're in
scares
there,
me.
You're in there by yourself with the other player. You can like turn over and look them right in the eye.
Yep.
So it's like, oh, I'm glad I'm a caster.
Yeah.
When it comes to that.
I walked by the player pods and the white noise. I thought I was like watching Poltergeist or something, and like
Yeah.
something's gonna come and kill me. I was scared.
You're left with your own thoughts, and that's about it.
Yes. Yep.
And if some players, more than others, don't want to be left too much with their own thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I don't have too many thoughts to be left with. Well, that was a pretty strong opening to go first on. Getting that one drop when you don't have the coin is so important in this matchup.
And even the scientists follow up. Pretty
Yeah.
nice.
It's something that I don't like saying too much, but mirror matchups are the most susceptible to early draws, and especially with aggressive decks, because if one player draws the curve, like
Right.
the one that you want to see the most, and the other player doesn't, it's like, how are you going to come back?
Right.
You can't race because they've already got such a big head start on you. So having that Leopard Gnome and that good curve early on is actually super important, especially in this matchup.
Yeah, it looks like Trump here has 2 blanks. This is not what he wants, a kill command on the Hunter's Mark. That second Haunted Creeper ties it all together. That was a great draw.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hunter's Mark can be pretty effective. Actually, the Haunted Creeper Hunter's Mark is a combination that's like a keep against a lot of decks.
Yeah, definitely.
But in this matchup, I'm not sure how effective
Not
it's
so
going to
much,
be.
I don't think.
I would
But-
love to see a Freezing Trap here.
Yeah.
This is it's a card that's so easy to blank later in the game with an Unleash the Hounds, just returning a Hound to hand, but in this case it's perfect. Lets your Leopard Gnome keep out DPSing them. I was just going to go with the Haunted Creeper instead. That's a surprising play.
A lot of times you'll see if you get a freezing trap on a card like Mad Scientist or Haunted Creeper on that turn 2, it's so hard for them to replay it in the game because
Right.
they against a fast deck like this, they're thinking, oh, on turn 4, what am I going to do? Play a 2/2 or like play a Pilot Shredder or something like that.
Exactly.
I mean, back in the Harvest Golem metagame, before Nextramus was even out, Freezing Trap was a pretty common turn 2 play out of Mid-Range Hunter, but you're starting to see it less and less. It's a card that I'll oftentimes keep in my opening hand in the Hunter Mirror, just if I don't have a Creeper or the Scientist yet, because it's, I mean, it's just like a consistent turn 2 play that's going to answer their turn 2 play.
Yeah.
Definitely strong with your bow, too, if they choose not to attack into it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Animal Companion, here we go.
Go.
We actually have at least, I don't think we've seen a Huffer today.
Yeah, actually, I don't think we've seen a Huffer.
No Huffers!
Pretty crazy.
It's because Blizzard was here earlier.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we're here.
Someone should alert them to the bug.
We're a little bit scared. No Huffers.
Yeah.
All
Turn off
Leox.
Huffer.
What a surprising amount of Leox today.
That wasn't the worst Unleash the Hound's turn, I guess. But Animal Companion's better, yeah.
So, do you trade into the Mad Scientist here to try and get a trap with the Spectral Spider? Because that's one of the best targets you're going to be able to get it on.
Yup, it is a little scary if it's explosive, though. You get absolutely wrecked.
You would get wrecked really hard.
Yeah.
And you run the risk of Snake.
I think he's been following Trump's matches closely. He knows that. I think he's only running Freezing Trap.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think he knows.
That's a really good read, and that's that situation right there sort of plays to the importance of doing the research, even just watching the matches of your opponents a little bit before So you know, you can say, oh, well, I've seen 28 cards in his deck, and it's been 2 freezing traps, and that was it. It allows you to make plays like that a lot more confidently.
Definitely.
I would like to see him play Freezing Trap and Quick Shot here. It feels pretty bad to Quick Shot a 1-1, but you have your turn 5 and 6 planned out already. You have to. Okay. Interesting. I guess this is fine. This lets you save Freezing Trap for your opponent's high main, assuming that they don't have Unleash the Hounds late game.
Yeah.
I suppose that is a Leok. It would just sit there and play if he played the trap and just kind of buff minions for the rest of the game.
Right.
Unleash the Hounds for 2 damage each at some point with a lot of their tokens on the board would be pretty devastating.
I wonder.
He's at 4 mana, so Knife Juggler or Unleash the Hounds is not a viable option. His curve is a little bit weird here. He can play Knife Juggler, weave in a hero power, and then trade in his Spectral Spiders to protect it. He can just Unleash the Hounds and try and push through, but there's going to be better turns to use it.
You can rock that 3-mana Spectral Spider.
Yeah, just play a 3-mana Spectral Spider
I wonder.
and go face.
Go face.
That seems strong.
That's the true Hunter way.
Pretty unlucky to draw Hunter's Mark double kill command. There are very few cards in the matchup that you don't want to see, and these are it. I mean, he has all of them.
I think we've seen it a lot today, actually. Double. He is rocking the 3-mana and
Whoa!
going face.
Yeah, well,
I like it.
That was a good. We called that.
yeah, well, Knife Juggler or Unleash the Hounds is something that you want to keep for the combo because you know that at most points in the game you're going to get value out of it, but it is punished heavily by Lotheb. I'm not sure if that's something that plays into your mind, but turn 5, like, what's a power play for Hunter turn 5? It's usually Lotheb.
I mean, this is sick because it's like the only line of play that let Trump Hunter's Mark this turn. Although now that he drew Lotheb,
Now he's got a Lotheb, so.
yeah, it's probably just going to be better.
Yep.
Alright, well, this is where the Hunters start trading blows. And Koyuki has to decide if he's going to play around that Hunter's Mark and trade into the Lotheb of Trump.
I think it's a good idea, especially if you're thinking of playing high main, because you want to protect the high main. I know it feels good throwing a 5 damage swing into the
See, the
face.
counter argument to that is Smork. Like,
Smork, yes. Smork. Always Smork.
Yeah.
it's like drawing a kill command right there and playing it for 0.
Smorking him down.
Well,
He can unleash the Hound's kill command and clear some things,
Freezing
but
Trap was an exceptional draw.
yeah.
Yep. I think that needs to be played.
That was one of the only ways Trump could have caught up, actually. So now he just needs to dodge a charge minion from Koyuki, and he could just be in great shape.
Yep.
The only thing Trump is deciding on right now is, do I play this Knife Juggler before my Unleash the Hounds to potentially start attacking with it? It exposes it to quick shots and weapons, but it does get more damage down. But he might also want to hold on to it, use it with that Unleash. Personally, I don't think he's going to have the time for all of that. He
Yeah.
has
I
2 kill
think he just
commands.
plays it.
Yeah.
So you Hunter's Mark the Lotheb here, pop into it with the Spectral Spider,
Yep.
throw down the Knife Juggler, play Freezing Trap and Hero Power.
Yep. Exactly what I think.
He's at a health disadvantage here, but with a Lotheb on the board that doesn't have an answer.
Really?
And just kill command face?
No, he's going to Freezing Trap.
Freezing
still.
Trapper? Okay. Interesting.
seems weird.
That was kind of interesting.
I guess
It allows him to play around second Freezing Trap, but he could have just done the same thing next turn with Unleash.
Right.
I guess he
And just-
thinks this is the best he's going to do with it.
I get getting 2 dogs. Yeah, I guess.
Well, getting them earlier does let them attack earlier. And I guess he's thinking he can't beat an opposing Unleash the Hounds anyway, because it would destroy his Freezing Trap.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's choosing not to play around that card, which is good. Wow, Koyuki's in a terrible spot because of this
Yep.
play.
Terrible.
And that's where we see how potentially amazing Freezing Trap is. If they don't have the Unleash the Hounds, it's a great card. One of the best answers in the game to Death Rattle minions. But if they do have, that Unleash the Hounds like Trump did, then all of a sudden Koyuki's Freezing Trap is just useless.
Yeah.
Whereas for Trump, it was the only card he could draw to win the game.
And usually in this matchup, the first player to have to start playing defensively, like on the back foot, is the one that usually ends up falling. So Koyuki's in that spot right now where this turn he's not going to really be able to push for much. He's having to clear the board because he's afraid, and now he needs to try and draw into a charge creature or something that's going to allow him to pop the Freezing Trap, or else that high main is just going to be pretty much a dead card.
Yeah, that was definitely his best line of play there. Zuka got to clear the Hounds. And I guess hope to draw Hounds of his own to get through the freezing trap.
Yeah.
Eagle Horn Bow is not a bad draw.
Yeah. You want to play kill commands here because you don't have a beast. Like while you do, like while you have the Hound here on the board, try and get some of the kill command damage in, at least one of them.
I think if you don't play kill command, you like playing bow deals 6 damage. Like basically, I think the game is over next turn. So like playing the bow would deal 6 damage instead of 5. So playing the bow is better than playing the second kill command.
Okay.
You could also just play Juggler and Hero Power, which is like the same
I wonder.
as kill commanding. One thing worth noting though is Trump has drawn a double Haunted Creeper already, so he probably won't get a cheat beast for the second kill command if he doesn't do it now. But so I think you play one of the kill commands for the beast reason you mentioned, and then you hold on to the other one because it's just more efficient to weave in a hero power.
Yeah. The Knife Juggler is still pretty threatening. So it's like, okay, well, if you, the difference between their attack is 2. Like you were saying, it's sort of just like playing a kill command. The kill command for 3, but if you kill the Hound and ignore the Knife Juggler, then it'd be a difference of 2 damage anyway. He doesn't even have a way to deal with the Knife Juggler, even if he wanted to, without taking the 3 damage anyway.
Right.
Because of the freezing trap here.
And the bow play is actually a lot better because the only way Trump loses is if that freezing trap is procced. So
Yeah.
you might as well get bow down. It's at least 6 damage. Good chance it's 9. I can't believe he turned it around. That freezing trap draw was amazing.
That was huge. Yeah, he was on the back foot the entire start with the Leper Gnome into the Mad Scientist.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
definitely
here he
just a 2-outer.
Yeah. So let's count the damage for the next turn. So he's going to have 5 damage from Hero Power Bow.
Yep.
So that's going to put him at 8. So he'll just need to piece together 2 damage from somewhere along with the double kill commands, which will do 6 total. So
So he's
quick.
gonna
Oh no, he wouldn't be able to because that would be all of his mana. Freezing Trap stops it, so I don't think he can win this turn.
Nope. Yeah, he cannot win this turn.
And then we got to look at how much damage can Koyuki do next turn.
Yeah, he's got 10 on board. Actually, 11, I suppose, the 7-power high main. And kill command draw won't be lethal, but if he plays Leroy, he has it.
Yeah.
So he
That
could
would be
draw
interesting.
The Leroy.
another out is quick shot into something.
Definitely.
Quick shot into quick shot.
Yeah, or
Quick
kill
shot, quick
command,
shot, kill command.
bow, quick shot into Huffer.
So it seems like the play here is just a
I think you have to go face. Like, you have to proc the trap.
yeah.
Right.
Trump is doing some explosive trap math and all that good stuff just to make sure. But I do think attacking is the right play. I guess he's wondering about what to attack into as well. Because he could put that damage on a high main. That might matter.
Quickly.
Alright.
Nah.
There we
Nope.
go.
Let's go.
He's afraid of snake trap or something.
I hunt alone.
All right.
Alright.
So it's going to be
Face we go.
Trump knows the game is over next turn. Oh, I like this play.
Only using 1.
He's already seen Lothep, right? So there's no reason to...
Yeah.
yeah.
But
That scientist is not what he needed.
is not it.
He throws his hand up. He's saying, "Oh man."
The reason Trump didn't play high main like most players would have there is because if he did, it would have actually given Koyuki a dog off of Unleash the Hounds, which would have destroyed his freezing trap. So heads up play there.
Very heads up.
Definitely good to kill command, gives him lethal anyway. Yeah, Trump's gonna take it. Wow.
Yeah, very well played. You mentioned the freezing trap being sort of the turning point in that matchup, and that's actually a big win. Getting those mirror matchup wins is actually pretty huge because it's sort of just a toss-up. It's not something that you can plan to win.
Right.
And so when you get into that matchup and you're the one who takes the victory, it always feels good. And on the other end, Koyuki is probably, he's 1 game away from elimination from this tournament. He's down 2-1 in this series. If he loses 1 more game to Trump, then he's out of the tournament. He goes home with $200 instead of potentially $10,000.
He does have the advantage of knowing exactly the class that Trump's gonna pick, though.
Right.
And yeah, like you mentioned, that freezing trap draw was such a big turning point, but an even more subtle draw that was equally important was that Haunted Creeper on his first draw. Because he gave him a perfect curve. Without that, he would have had to Hero Power turn 2
Yeah.
or play a trap, just do something kind of awkward. So that was pretty important too.
Yeah.
Definitely let him keep up and then snowball that into a win eventually.
All right, so Trump has
Play handlock, right?
hand lock remaining.
Now, I think the Hunter versus Handlock match is going to be pretty decisive, but
Patron Warrior versus hand lock on the
Yeah.
other hand.
That may also be very decisive.
right,
Just the other way.
Just the, yeah, exactly.
It's a matchup that really depends on how the Patron deck is built. We're starting to see a lot more variety in Patron lists lately. Most of the highest ranked players on the NA server are playing Patron, but they all have a few little tweaks as far as tech choices go. So Big Game Hunter starting to become more popular, so if that's in there, it's definitely going to help Koyuki a lot. I've seen some of them play Brawl, which helps in the mirror, but it would also help a lot against Warlock.
Definitely.
And yeah, I mean, we see some lists with more card draw and,
Yep.
and you know, burst. That's definitely helpful as well. So
Koyuki's list is all about the card draw. He runs a lot of cycle in the Patron Warrior.
it's exactly what he wants, I think, in this matchup.
Yeah, no BGH, no something like he doesn't have commanding shout either. So there's
Right.
not tools that are traditionally considered the cards that you put in to specifically target handlock.
Right.
But the cycle is really good because it allows him potential to draw into those combos that he needs early, like the Frothing Berserkers, stuff to push through earlier on in the game.
Oh, wow. That is the dream. Wait, Shield Slam.
Yeah, he runs Shield Block, Shield Slam as
yeah,
well in
he
Patron
runs
Warrior.
double shield block, double shield slam.
Okay, well, that explains why there's no BGH. You don't need it then. I would
Yep.
keep all three of those. I would keep that entire hand.
I think I would keep the entire hand.
That
Yeah.
hand's amazing.
Advantage to just about everything he can play early game. Despite, I think, is one of the most important cards in any matchup
Right.
in this deck.
Yes.
Maybe not in the opening hand, but
No, in the opening hand, it's the best card in the deck, I think.
yeah.
It kills them on turn 6, and it keeps you alive up until then.
Okay.
Well, hopefully he draws them again.
Cool Taskmaster, Whirlwind, waste to proc execute, but the only difference between like the utilization of Shield Slam in this Patron Warrior versus the Control Warrior is the Shield Maidens. All the other tools are still there. He runs double Shield Block, he runs double Armor Smith, so he's got reliable ways to get armor.
Oh man, hopefully he draws a Despite for that. It's still going to be good with the Whirlwind though and the Taskmaster. This is one of the matchups where Patron is like definitely a strong card. There we
There's
go.
that. That's why.
You
Well
got
played.
it back.
Yep. It's a matchup where it's definitely a strong card, but the reason that Handlock is considered slightly favored against Patron is because it actually has the tools to beat a Patron draw. It plays Hellfire, plays
Right.
Shadow Flame.
Yep.
So you're not just dead when they go off. But sometimes you are. Sometimes they have Frothing Berserker, and then
Right.
you're wondering why you're not playing Patron.
Well, he's got a pretty good curve. He's got Twilight Drake into Tap Mountain Giant.
Yep.
So
Cute here.
Trump is not in as awkward of a position as he was in like that first game against the Rogue, where
Oh yeah, where he had like no draws except for that turn 4 Twilight.
turn 4 Twilight Drake that just got sapped, and then he can play it again for the rest of the game.
Yep. What is he debating here?
He's got some options. I guess he's debating whether to use coin on the armor.
Or attack over 2 turns.
Right. I think you want to save your armor for your Shield Slam. But,
You can Shield Slam, Coin Fire, War
okay.
Axe.
Yeah, I like
that.
this. It's a good play. Yeah.
Makes use of the weapons too, because his hand's really clunky with weapons.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
2 Fiery War Axes and Death Spite. The Fiery War Axe, usually in handlock, is used like later in the game to like just equip, so you threaten more damage to force them to play a little bit more inefficiently. So getting value out of that early, getting use out of it at all early is pretty good.
Absolutely. Definitely nice that he could attack that turn. But this Sludge Belcher, really great here from Trump. Like, Koyuki doesn't have a great way to deal with that.
You don't want to execute it.
No, you definitely do not.
No, you don't want to use your Whirlwind on it with a Patron in hand. You don't have the mana to Despite Taskmaster, so maybe he ends up attacking it over 2 turns, but I mean, that's going to mean it's a 9 damage Sludge Belcher that's eating weapon charges. That's a pretty strong card.
There's one thing that he wants to make sure he does, and that's make sure he gets below 30 health at some point in the early game.
Right. He wants that draw, right?
This is
Yeah.
like the one drawback of playing Shield Block, because I've thought of doing this, but when I've tried it, my Battle Rages were dead.
Yeah.
Like the entire game, because yeah, a lot of games you just end up armoring turn 2 or turn 3 or turn 4, and then you never fall below 30.
Yep.
And that's a pretty big deal. You say, oh, it's only one card, but sometimes the only potential that you have for it is like 2 cards, and that one card can make a world of difference at certain points in the game. So
Yeah, Battle Rage wins games. Have we seen that card in Koyuki's deck? Maybe
he runs both.
We have, yeah. He runs
Both.
2.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very draw heavy. He
Yep.
runs No Mission Benders as well. He doesn't run Azure Drakes, which is a card that we've seen some players who run the draw heavy Patron Warrior run. Like Osaka did it as well in one of his weeks that he played Patron Warrior. So Chang as well.
Chang, yeah.
Yeah. He ran the Miracle Patron
He
Warrior.
did, yeah. That was
It was
interesting.
all draw. It was all in on the Frothing Berserker
Did it have
combo.
Gadgetson?
Yeah, it did, I believe. It had one Gadgets and Auctioneer.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it was all in.
There we go. Well, running your face into Mountain Giant is one way to get below 30.
Yep. Because we got a shield block to bring him back up. So
Yep.
the order of the draws here matters, and the order of the usage here matters.
Definitely like that play from Koyuki. Well, it's not a bad turn to play Sylvanas. It's not going to die to that Deathbite charge, and it's really important here.
Besides the shield blocks, Koyuki hasn't drawn into any card draw. Doesn't have Battle Rages yet. Hasn't drawn into the Acolytes yet. No Mission Benders yet, so... His hand is starting to get a little bit... Oh, there we go.
Speaking of the...
Right on time. There's just so much card draw. You're bound to draw something. Battle Rage, Acolyte of Pain, No Mission Bender, Shield Block.
Is it just ridiculous to the Patron here? Probably.
Just Patron?
I mean, the
World
first
Ruin,
one's getting AoE'd anyway, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
That's true.
maybe you just get it out now.
Usually in this matchup, you can throw out Patrons willy-nilly because you're just saying, oh, I'm just going to get killed anyway.
They're going to get Hellfired or Shadow Flamed.
I mean, if he ends up Hellfiring on 7 mana, it's a really inefficient turn for Handlock, and you make it, like, it's the least likely it'll ever be that Trump doesn't have one of those because it's earlier in the game now. The longer it goes, the longer, or like the more likely it becomes that Handlock has one of those AoE cards.
That does not feel very nice.
I don't understand that. I guess, oh, he's saving the Whirlwind for the Patron? Yeah, okay.
yeah, he's saving the pitch.
He's just going for a bigger Patron. I mean, which is a fine play, but I mean, the odds are the Patron's going to just die anyway, no matter how many you make. So,
I feel like getting card draw to the Acolyte's really important here.
yeah.
So throwing it
absolutely.
out there without activating at least one draw is just asking to get
Right, Dark Bomb.
Dark Bomb.
I mean, he's lucky that's not an owl.
Yeah. Because at least he gets one out of it, but that's
Right.
still, his hand is not very strong. He does draw on a Warsong Commander, so that's one of the key cards of his combos, but he's nowhere near killing Trump.
Oh, the other execute comes back. It is important for the bigger taunts later in the game.
So if he shield blocks here, that eliminates the Grim Patron opportunity.
4 mana. Shield Block again.
All right, well, he's getting some of this cycle going on.
All right, Battle Rage. So, is he going to go for the execute right now? That's really the question. I think waiting is fine. If you wait, you can Battle Rage, but you can't execute.
Right.
I would probably wait and Battle Rage for 4 cards next turn. That just seems better.
He's really making Manger here.
It's actually only for 3 cards, but still.
Yeah, 3.
Maybe he draws Inner Rage. I mean, the cycle heavy lists usually do play Inner Rage, but we haven't seen that out of Koyuki yet. Most people.
He runs one Inner Rage.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit interesting.
Yeah, most players favor that card to Cruel Taskmaster just because, you know, you're really playing Taskmaster for the battle cry, not the G2.
Yeah, really early in the day today, we saw a match between Koyuki and, I believe, Demigod, where it was Freeze Mage versus Patron Warrior, and we went to Fatigue. So
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
we saw every single card in Koyuki's deck.
There is that Inner Rage.
Yep.
That is a huge draw. Are you kidding me? That just drew him like a million extra cards off Battle Rage, didn't it?
Yeah, because now he
Yeah.
can Grim
He
Patron.
plays 1. That is the best possible draw in his deck. That's like 0 mana sprint.
That's true, because now, okay, so
Better
we
than
can
Zero
get...
Menace, but I think it's
Well, it's even if he wants to do it, right? Like he
6. No.
He could go for a big Battle Rage, but he could also just not, and just like save it for maybe a big Frothing Berserker.
Mhm.
I would go in.
So maybe just use like one Whirlwind effect? Because you can play Grim Patron, Rage one of them, and then attack in. So then you're left with 4 Grim Patrons,
Yeah,
2 of which are damaged, and then you draw 3 cards. Because having the Whirlwind effects is actually really important, because that's like the only way you kill a handlock
Right.
is by making really big turns later on with like Frothing Berserker or maybe even Grim Patrons if you can get them low enough.
Interesting. Well, that just threw all of our theories out the door.
Yeah.
But
it's not that bad of a play. It's just
It's like a 2-mana sprint where you draw 3 less cards.
right.
that's a good description.
Well, I mean, if his deck does play a lot of card draw, I guess he's
not
expecting
worried about
to
it.
get into more of it. I mean, Emperor is a pretty big part of getting off your huge Frothing Berserker turns. And he already has the War Song in hand. He has the Whirlwind in hand. So basically 2 combo pieces of the Frothing Berserker combo got reduced there. If you draw Emperor there, I do agree with this play. But I might have gone for drawing the whole deck.
Yeah, if you draw Emperor. Like if you know your next card is Emperor, then you do this.
I mean,
But if-
even
Hacks were done.
yeah, even if a play looks like it's immediately not quite as good as another play, the overall game plan might be better to do it this way. Like maybe Koyuki recognizes that the only way he wins is like a big Frothing Berserker burst or a Patron burst turn, and if that's the case, he needs to save that Inner Rage. You
Yeah.
can't just use it to draw cards that don't win in the game.
Yeah.
Right.
I've got the beast in my sight. My shield.
You play a lot of Patron Warrior Dominus.
I do not actually. I've played maybe like 5 games.
You can't count to 30. No, I'm just kidding. What draws you away from it?
I don't know actually. I just haven't got around to playing it as much.
Yeah.
I definitely need to though.
It's a really tough deck to master.
Right,
Because there's a
yeah.
lot of situations where you go into and you're like, oh my goodness. Having the right play is so hard because almost every single play you make with that deck is subjective.
Right, exactly. I can see from it now. There's a lot of different options you can go.
Is there a chance that Trump is dead right here?
Is he dead?
Wait.
He gets the heal from the zombie chow. So if he attacks in, he'll take the 5. No. He can pile it on.
Everyone get in here.
Everybody. All right, so this is. That's 9.
I'll be able to armor smith first.
So what is he planning to use that 2 mana for if it's not Armor Smith? If he's going to armor up, he would have gained 10 times the amount of armor.
That would have been a lot of armor.
Oh, well, he's going to armor up instead of Armor Smith.
I don't understand.
I'm just upset.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
I'm just upset.
Koyuki, what are you doing to me?
oh my god.
Ooh. Ugh.
That happened. All right. Well,
That was
I think Trump just wins now. Like, I think just Hellfire gets played and the game is over.
Yep. He has 2 cards in hand. It's
There's no way to draw a million cards left because he cycled Battle Rage.
You just play a heal bot after Hellfire?
Right. I mean, you could like AFK for 2 turns and still win, I think.
You hungry, Trump? You want a snack?
Wow. All right. I mean, Trump's going to think through all his options. There are a lot of ways to go with this. But I do think Hellfire Healbot's probably the way to go.
Puts him at 22. Koyuki only has 2 cards in his hand, so the damage possibility is not very high.
Even something like a Grommash wouldn't really do much for you at this point.
Yeah. That's rough. And he just ends up playing the Armor Smith this turn. That is... Can't imagine that was planned.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even the... It's not even like the Armor Smith that would have made that big of a difference. It's just like not whirlwinding doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, you either... Okay, if you're going to burn your entire hand on a combo, it better be lethal or it better, like, win the game if they don't have the sweeper. In this case, it wasn't It wasn't really either of those cases.
Yeah.
That's also something you can do if you battle raged up to like a 10-card hand. You can use like half of them and force them to have the sweeper. But yeah, in this case, it definitely didn't work out.
Possibilities.
All right, Dom, is this Dr. Boom getting played?
Is it time for the YOLO Dr. Boom?
I don't know. That may be.
I don't think so, but
You got to go for a Shadow Flame, I think.
yeah, definitely.
He's only got one card left in his hand.
Oh, he's just gonna
He's
taunt
going to
him up.
taunt up. Yeah, it's more
which-
aggressive, but it's fine.
Shields up.
Definitely not a bad play.
Yeah, puts 10 damage on the board. If he attacks into anything, it sets him up for lethal next turn with Draxus.
If Koyuki draws Brawl off this, Frothing Berserker wins. I think he still loses the game, though. Like, maybe Black Knight.
Pass me that Arclight Spanner.
I'm not sure what's in the deck. Alright, well, we've seen 2 executes used, so it's not going to be a huge help.
This has to be the best card in the entire deck. Well, that's one of them.
It's actually not bad, yeah. No, Shield Slam does stuff.
I strike.
Yeah, but when you're throwing your Frothy Berserker in like this, you got no cards in your hand, you're having to use it to kill a giant. Good thing about this, he's gaining absurd amounts of armor, he's cycled a little bit through his deck. Bad thing, he's still in a pretty rough spot.
And the animations are cool, though.
Yeah, there you go.
The best kind of BM in the game is when you have like double Frothing Berserker in play, maybe an Armor Smith, and you just like queue all your whirlwinds and swing for lethal, and they sit there watching for like 3 minutes while they can't concede.
You drop your headset and
It's
just
really
walk away from the
satisfying.
computer.
Yep. All that counting.
That's how I play Grim Pagan Warrior. You just sort of like, I don't even count.
I think that's what happened when I played you on ladder and you were playing Grim Patient. Just made me watch all day so those numbers got counted.
I didn't even count either. I just said, oh, I got 2 Frothing Berserkers on board and a couple Whirlwind
Let's go.
effects.
Pretty big number.
You slowly point the Frothy Berserk at the face, hoping
Yes.
for the skull. You're like, is it? Okay, skull, we're good.
I got this.
Well, Trump's going to take his time, make sure there's absolutely no way he can lose this game, but he is already in the lead. He got this matchup, which he needed to get, and yeah, it looks like he's going to be taking the series.
Yeah, this is pretty devastating for Koyuki here. Hasn't had the best of series this last 2 series here. Losing this game would mean he's out of the tournament.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, how many cards does Koyuki have left in his deck? Maybe if he drew the second Battle Rage, and Trump didn't kill his stuff.
See if we can get our magical
I believe he has like probably 10 or 9.
spectator hand.
Our Berserker's important. Here we go. Yeah, draw
That's
Battle
nice.
Rage, draw the deck. Well, it's not quite good enough. So let's see. He's going to be going to 20. 22 if he wants.
Ouch! Koyuki just looks pretty defeated right now. He's just sort of going through the motions, hoping that he draws into something, a miracle play, but
Yeah.
he's got Frothy Berserker, he's got chances to make that thing big.
Make something huge, definitely.
There's only been one war song played so far, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's say Trump doesn't kill him and both of his boombots stay alive. Maybe he draws War Song, Patron. Patron bumps into boombot. Boombot hits a patron. Everyone gets in here. With that,
That might do it.
Some crazy stuff could happen. You never know.
To the face for 4. Okay.
That's about how this game has been going.
Yeah. If you could sum this game up in one sentence, it'd be Boombot to the face for 4.
7 points of business coming Koyuki's way. And that is probably going to lock it up. Sludge Belcher Healbot. It's going to eliminate all the outs, I think.
What
think
can he
so.
even draw?
I don't think there's anything.
Deathwing would be alright.
Deathwing's always
No, I
nice.
guess BGH.
That's true.
Two Deathwings in a row probably do it.
2 Deathwings in a row. There you
Yep,
go.
That's all.
That's what Koyuki needs to win this game. Only 2 Deathwings in a row. Brings himself back up to 13 health, leaves 11 damage on the board. There's a lot of things that would kill him. Even just Jiraxis. Feels like a stylish finish is in order here pretty soon.
It does let you switch up emotes. Even if Koyuki squelched, Gul'dan. Once Draxus is played, you have to re-squelch, and you have that
Really?
few seconds where they have no squelch counterplay,
Yeah.
where you can make them face
spam
Draxus. Yeah.
As a serial squelcher yourself,
Yes.
Reynad,
It's
you're
important.
an expert.
From experience.
All right, well, the well-playeds come out. Trump is going to move on to the playoff stage. He's going to take second place in Group A. But unfortunately, Koyuki has been eliminated from the Hearthstone Legendary Series Season 2. Players shake hands and give each
Get that
other
hug.
a hug. These guys are two of the longest-standing veterans in the Hearthstone scene. These guys have been playing the game since the game pretty much came out. So
Yeah.
it's good to see that sort of sportsmanship between these two comrades.
Yeah, it's great. They both, even making it this far is fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
definitely strong play all around, and I like their decks a lot. Like, yeah, Trump, pretty convincing series, and really liked his lineup. Like just to not bring Patron and just bring decks he's comfortable with. It's a really cool strategy.
Yeah. All right, well, let's take a look at the bracket from Group A, since that was the last match that we'll be seeing today. We saw Demigod and Trump face off. Demigod took that one 3-1. Then, of course, Koyuki defeated Kabi with that 3-2. And, of course, in the losers match, Trump took out Kabi 3-1. And, of course, the two players that will be moving on to the playoff stage from this group are Trump and Demigod. Now, Domdis, I want to get your opinions on these two players. After seeing these guys' decks, after seeing them face off with the rest of the players from Group A over the past couple hours, do you think these guys are going to be having a lot of success in the playoff stage?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think either of them has a good chance to take it. They've shown that they're both very comfortable with their decks. Both of them didn't tailor their decks towards, just the best decks. They definitely brought what they're comfortable with. Like Demigod brought Heal-It-In, and then obviously Trump brought the three that he's just most comfortable with. And I think that says a lot about their confidence in their abilities with the decks they're comfortable with, not having to stretch it to just playing the best decks. So I think they have a great chance.
Reynad, are you scared to face off potentially against Trump later on in the tournament if you make it through your group?
Terrified.
Terrified.
Who is not terrified of the mayor of Value Town?
Yeah. It's
You're
definitely...
him.
All right, well, Domdis, I want to get your thoughts on moving forward. Are you excited to play next? Because this is going to be your last game on the casting desk, because you're going to have to actually start playing Hearthstone.
Yeah.
You looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. Excited to get my first big LAN game in there. Hopefully, don't get the jitters or anything like that.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you for joining us on the casting desk. It was
Thank you
nice
for having me.
Awesome. We do have a winner's interview with Trump up on the stage, so let's send it over to Dan.
Thank you very much, TJ, Reynad, and Dominus. I'm joined by Trump, who advanced to the round of 8 in second place. It's a little tight. Originally, we started off the day rocky, but we made it. And overall, a job well done. So just give me some thoughts on the series overall with how it went with Koyuki.
Oh my gosh, I won! All right. It was really exciting. Koyuki is a really tough opponent. After I dropped the first one, it was a scramble. I managed to out-mind game him each time and pick the right one, or maybe my randomness was just better than his randomness. Who knows? The games were good.
Yeah, overall, well done. I can't wait to see that reaction in the Trump Reacts to More Things video, 2015. So Trump, now that you've gotten to the round of 8, that's a pretty good showing here so far, considering that again you're able to start showing more consistency throughout tournaments, getting top 8. What's your realistic goal throughout the tournament? Is it to win the whole thing? Is it to try and get some more World Championship points as time goes on? Is there a specific thing that you have in mind?
I think when anyone comes into a tournament, their goal is to go as far as they can. Some people might say, like, I'm going for number 1, but I'm just going to go as far as I can, really happy to make it this far, hoping to go further, and perhaps the side goal is to prove that I can crush Patron Warrior.
That's right, without playing it yourself. Some people say, well, I'll crush Patron Warrior, but I'll put it in my own lineup. So props to you. Again, the casters are giving you shout-outs. I guess the last question is, what are you going to do with all this downtime now that you've advanced to day 3? You're not going to be playing tomorrow.
It's going to be nice to relax a bit. I'm uncharacteristically nervous, but getting the jitters off after winning now. Get some downtime, like you said, it's going to be really nice. Get to visit all the people who are coming to watch, get to talk with the players, maybe cast, who knows.
That's right. Your Trump casting has actually been getting a lot better, too. So I've been seeing you do some online invitations. It'd be awesome to see you cast as well. So congratulations, Trump. You advanced to the round of 8. And that'll be an opportunity to see you in day number 3. So with that, guys, we're done with Group A. Can you believe it? We're halfway through the day. We have one more group to go. That's 5 more matches. And as Dom this was alluding to, he'll be also playing in just a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, more Hearthstone action here at the Hearthstone Season 2 LAN Finals for the Legendary Series.